With one quality of life fix, Gara became one of the most easy to use destructive forces in the game. What's good, folks? It's NightmareFrame here with a new Warframe video, coming at you with an updated powerhouse of a Gara build. For the people who are just now setting their eyes on Gara, she is a frontline tank who can output a lot of damage, and this damage scales infinitely, while also having 90% damage reduction for her and allies. Now, what change did she receive? Well, it's so simple that it baffles me how long it took them and how this little rework changes everything. Yeah?
And it's different if you hit it from inside or from outside.
Yes.
So we're actually flipping that so it now always works like if you hit it from outside, which, you know, if you're familiar with Gara, you know that that's more outside or from outside. So we're actually flipping that so it now always works like if you hit it from outside.
But you're always inside, so now you can stand out inside and just hit it. That's actually pretty good, because imagine if you build up a fucking huge ring, you have to like wait a minute, let me That's literally Gara's playstyle, right? So if they keep it inside, which is pretty good, you just go you know, pretty easy.
I know it may sound stupid, but listen up. So before, she couldn't detonate her fourth ability from the inside to get the stacks on her second ability. She had to walk all the way outside, shatter it, and make her way back to repeat. But now, she gets stacks regardless of where she shatters her fourth ability. Simple, but makes her so much more versatile than before. Alright, for all of this to make sense for the average player or the people who haven't used or seen this Warframe, let me go over her kit. She's a Warframe that needs two abilities to empower her second ability. I know that sounds awkward, but let's start off with her first ability, Shattered Lash. When you first lay your eyes on this ability, it doesn't do that much damage, nor will it, even if you mod it with so much power strength on your Warframe. But it is a crucial ability. This is an ability that scales from two sources. It is a Psuedo Exalted weapon. Again, what does that mean? First, you must know the difference. Exalted weapons are abilities that can be modded. Example of this is Excalibur's Exalted Blade and Mesa's Peacemakers. These abilities scale from the Warframe equipped mods and their own upgradable menu. Now, a Psuedo Exalted is similar, but it will use mods from your equipped weapon and the Warframe's mods. Psuedo Exalteds all have their unique perks, stats, function, and scale differently. Shattered Lash has, wait for it, 0% crit chance, 0% status chance, yikes, and a 1x critical multiplier. I know, right? It deals both puncture and slash damage, depending on how you activate the ability. Quick tap is puncture, and whole cast is slash damage. Now, a reminder, this is just the damage type. You are not proccing any bleeds or puncture. It has 0% status chance. You are dealing flat damage. As I said earlier, this ability scales from the Warframe and equipped melee, and this is where you're going to need a stat stick. Alright folks, please pay attention. This is where I explain what a stat stick is. I will tend to reiterate myself to emphasize my point because people still don't get it. Shocking, right? A stat stick is an empty vessel where you equip mods to directly affect the damage output of your Warframe's ability. This is only for Psuedo Exalted weapons, meaning 99% of the time, the weapon you choose does not matter. I repeat, 99% of the time, the weapon you choose does not matter. Literally, close your eyes, pick a melee weapon, and you're set. This also means the weapon stats do not matter, just the mods. Whatever green number you are seeing in the modding screen is not affecting the weapon because you're actually modding the ability rather than the equipped melee weapon. As I stated earlier, Psuedo Exalted melee abilities all have their own unique stats and function differently. And the only time, this is the 1% part, where a specific melee weapon will matter is when you have or are going for a Riven, as Rivens are mods and count towards the damage output on the Psuedo Exalted weapons. Other Psuedo Exalted weapons can't use combo pausing melees, like Zora's Tenet Livia or Grigori. However, Gara's Shattered Lash is different. Even though it scales with combo counter, you don't have to build combo. What a relief, right? You're not hitting enemies with your first ability to deal damage. However, you're going to use it to shatter and break your fourth to empower your second ability. If you still didn't get all of that, there are timestamps. Okay, now on to the second ability, Splinter Storm. This ability gives you damage reduction that caps off at 90%. You only need 130% power to achieve that. And this ability deals IPS damage, Impact Puncture Slash. And this damage increases by accumulating shattered shards from her fourth ability. Shattering the fourth ability with your first takes 50% of the shards and fragments and adds it to Splinter Storm. This damage scales infinitely as long as you continue building up the combo. Another great thing is casting your fourth ability refreshes the duration of the second. But once you have enough damage accumulation, you can walk over to enemies and they just explode out of existence. And you can cast your Splinter Storm onto Warframe allied NPCs, and companions. Another great tip, that douchebag Violence, remember him, everybody hates that guy, cannot dispel or nullify your second ability. Only ones who can are Demolishers, Nullifiers, or falling into the dead zone. The third ability is replaced with my Helminth of choice, and that's Nourish. It's an interesting synergy. Nourish is going to buff our damage and give us energy. On initial cast, we get a viral elemental damage multiplier on our weapons. This counts as a viral elemental mod combination on your stat stick, which also affects our Psuedo Exalted weapon. Neat, right? And also gives us a bunch of energy on energy pickup. And finally, when enemies attack you, you unleash an AoE viral retaliation that staggers and procs viral on enemies. And now onto Mass Vitrify, our fourth ability. When cast, we're invulnerable to all damage and aren't able to move, while we summon an expanding ring, and any enemy that comes into contact with this ring gets petrified and crystallized. Enemies receive 50% more damage from all sources, and enemies petrified increase the health on the crystal's ring. Shattering this ring with your first ability causes a mass explosion of glass and deals damage to anything around you and adds 50% of the glass fragments to your second ability. So all the power strength you have on your Warframe, the modded stat stick will affect the damage you deal to the ring, and you get 50% of that added to your Splinter Storm. Get it? Cool. Very simple. Also, with this new change, a new augment was released for Gara, Shattered Storm. This augment is actual dog shit. Yeah, you heard me. It states, when Gara breaks her Mass Vitrify ring with Shattered Lash, enemies struck by the glass suffer Splinter Storm at 100% strength. Now this can mean two things. 100% of your Splinter Storm damage, or literally 100% base. I guess what it does. Meaning, it doesn't scale with Splinter Storm's scaled damage, only the base ability strength at its 100% base level. Yeah, this thing literally tickles enemies, and enemies flail around like they got stuck with icky glass. Why CC enemies with icky glass while you can just shatter them into non-existence? Yeah, this augment is doo-doo water. So, now that you have a solid idea of how she works, let's take a look at how we build her. For my Archon Shards, I have all 5 red Archon Shards giving me ability strength, just to achieve 155% ability strength without even modding for it. You don't have to do this, this is just a little bit of that min-maxing. Okay, in the aura, I have Brief Respite for that energy to shield conversion. Use an ability that consumes energy and it gets converted into shields. Prime Sure-Footed for the knockdown and stagger resistance. If you do not have this, you can use Handspring. My power strength will be at 199% with Umbral Intensify and Transient Fortitude. As you notice, this tanks my duration. So to counteract that negative duration, I will be using Primed Continuity. For my range, I will be using Stretch, Augur Reach, and a rank 4 overextended. This tanks my ability strength, but thanks to the red Archon Shards, I'm able to maintain a decent amount of power strength. Prime Flow for the large energy pool because we're going to be casting quite a lot and we do not have any efficiency. And finally, for defenses, I'll be using Rolling Guard for the status cleansing and 3 seconds of invulnerability. For the Arcane, Molt Augmented is a must. At max stacks, you will get 60% power strength. For the second Arcane, it can be up to you. You can run Molt Efficiency. This gives you 10 seconds of duration. Or you can run Arcane Blade Charger. This gives you 300% melee damage for 12 seconds if you get a kill on your primary weapon. So you can run a Kuvazar or something that's AoE, kill a few enemies, and you have a 30% chance to get 300% melee damage. Very useful, very flexible. You can also run Arcane Agility for that parkour velocity because you'll be running around quite a lot. And you also have this Arcane Blessing. If you want some health, you can replace Rolling Guard with Adaptation and run this Arcane as well. Gara has an amazing 90% damage reduction on her second ability. So for base Steel Path or any like chilled casual gameplay, you can run this Arcane with Adaptation. So this slot is up to you. Also, if you're not going to use the Archon Shards route, you can use Blind Rage, and for this slot right here, use Arcane Energize. Even though we have Nourish, Gara's abilities are quite expensive and repetitive, so you're going to be consuming quite a lot of energy. Otherwise, if you got the Archon Shards and you're looking to min-max, you can do this. Okay, now we're taking a look at how to build Gara's stat stick. As a reminder, crits do not affect this weapon unless you're running Arcane Avenger, but that's a completely different story. For this particular build, we're looking for base damage, elements, and even physical damage. So for base damage, our main mod will be Primed Pressure Point. Reminder, whatever you see on the left side here on the screen, any green numbers that are going up do not affect your Psuedo Exalted. For the elemental combination, we're going to start off with Corrosive. That's Prime Fever Strike with Shocking Touch. And then we're going to go with Blast, Molten Impact, North Wind. Why have I gone with Blast? Because we already have Viral from Nourish. So now we'll have Corrosive, Blast, and Viral. Another base damage mod is Spoiled Strike. Attack speed does not affect Shattered Lash. And now Augur Strike. We're going to be using the quick tap version of this ability. So Augur Strike adds that puncture damage, which influences our Shattered Lash. If you're using the Slash variant, which is the hold cast, then use Buzzkill instead. And now this slot over here can be your Riven, or if you don't have a Riven, you can run Corrupt Charge. It gives you initial combo, which also affects your Psuedo Exalted weapon. So this is a basic Gara stat stick. And let's demonstrate it. Cast your 4. Use your 1. There you go. You're building up damage on your second ability. Activate Nourish. And now we have Viral on our stat stick. Pay attention. We're going to be building up even more damage. There are some unique weapons that have augment mods that give them base damage, and other unique perks like the Prismaskana, Jaw Sword, and Mire. Those are usually the weapons that people recommend, but again, as I said, the weapon doesn't matter. Now for those looking for Riven recommendations, here are some great ones. Always look for base damage, that means melee damage, and any element combination. Literally, that's how easy it is. Or you can go with 2 positives, so you get a larger boost in your stats, but make sure to always have base damage. So for example, you can go with melee damage electricity, melee damage heat, melee damage cold, melee damage and corrosive combination, melee damage and radiation combination. It doesn't matter. So here are some of the negatives that literally do not matter. Negative crit chance, negative crit damage, negative attack speed, negative range, negative faction damage, status chance, status duration. You're set in stone. Gara stat stick is one of the easiest Riven to go for. Okay, so let's say you're fighting Corpus units or even the corrupted units, and there's a bunch of nullifiers that are quite annoying and you want to get rid of them so you can actually deal damage. And that's where I introduced the Miter. The Miter has an augment called Neutralizing Justice. 90% chance to immediately destroy a nullifier bubble. This bubble is destroyed permanently. As you may have noticed in the footage, I'm performing Mercy finishers on Xmas units. Even though you've built up a lot of damage, you will weaken them all the way down to a Mercy state with your Splinter Storm. Power Drain gives me 50% ability strength when I Mercy kill a target. Blood for Energy gives me 50% chance to drop an energy orb from a Mercy. Xmas units always drop health and energy orbs, and this gives me an additional one. And lastly, Out of Sight. When you Mercy kill someone, you will blind enemies within an 18-meter radius. Free crowd control, because why not? This combo is so fun and easy to use. And in terms of focus schools, you can go whatever you want. This is such a flexible build. You want to have efficiency and increase in energy regen, run Zeneric. You want a bit more casting speed and 40% more power strength, run Matarai. You want armor strip, you got Unairu. You want some increased vulnerability, run Vazarin. If you want to try and build combo and maintain that combo, you can use Naramon. Either one works. Alright folks, that has been it from me and this video. I hope you've enjoyed and learned something from it, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content streams and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.